Okay, here's how you make royal icing. Super easy. This is the icing that sets up hard like on Christmas cookies. You're going to start by getting your egg whites. You want to carefully crack around the edge of the egg and then use your fingernails to go ahead and separate it because you're using the eggshell to create 2 cups. You can use one eggshell to pick away at the white hanging off the edge of the other one. And once you get the hang of getting your egg cracked correctly, you'll find it's really pretty easy to separate an egg. It's a little messy, it's a little awkward, that's normal. You're going to dispose of the yolk and the eggshell. We don't need those now. Go ahead and do the same thing with the next egg, same process. See how I'm cracking around the middle? And then using my fingernails to go ahead and carefully pop it apart. And see that giant yucky glob of egg white? That's what makes the good stuff. Mix in enough confectioner's sugar with anything and you'll be amazed. We're going to get our mixing bowl ready, and for this we'll be using the whisk attachment because you're working with that super fine sugar and ingredients. We're going to go ahead and put in the cream of tartar that it calls for this recipe. Also calls for a little bit of lemon juice. I feel like it has a good flavor. It takes color well. It's a really good, versatile royal icing to use. I will go ahead and put in our egg whites. Now we're going to zero out the scale and weigh out the confectioner's sugar, otherwise known as powdered sugar. And it takes quite a bit. You'll see the icing is definitely mostly pure sugar. And for those who aren't familiar, you are good just using the egg whites even though you aren't cooking this. It's egg yolks that need to be cooked to help kill any bacteria, but with just egg whites you're pretty safe. Go ahead and put our scale away, and now we're going to let's see, we'll go ahead and spoon the sugar in there. Sometimes if you try to dump a bowl in around the edge of the top of that mixer, that top arm, it can kind of poof the powdered sugar all over, so it's usually better to take a serving spoon and just spoon it on in there, at least till you get down to the bottom of the bowl. Now we're at the bottom so we can dump it out and it's not messy. We'll go ahead and put on our whisk attachment. And royal icing takes quite a bit of work with the whisk attachment because those egg whites need to really be processed into the sugar. You'll definitely need to scrape down the bowl at least a couple of times to make sure everything's really thoroughly mixed, because you can see how the sugar just bunches up on the sides there. So a little short-handled white spatula is perfect for that. You'll find lots of times when you're using egg whites in a recipe, I don't remember a time where they ever really instruct to not overwork the egg whites. It seems like most of the time you mix them pretty vigorously, which is why a stand mixer is just a must. If you're going to do that much cooking, you've got to have a stand mixer, you got to have a good food processor. There's just some things you really need to have. A good stainless steel rolling pin. And you'll want to make sure you're getting clear down to the bottom of the mixing bowl as you scrape down at least one of the times. And as you work it with the whisk attachment, it will really thicken. Now when you go to use this, you want to watch it doesn't dry out on you. If you need to save it to use some the next day, if you can't finish it once, if you need to store it for a little while but you don't want it to dry out, see here, you can go ahead and put in any food coloring you want. If you don't want it to dry out, you can just wet down a paper towel and lay it in clear over the top of the icing, and that will help preserve your icing, and then stick it in the fridge and you're good to go the next round. And that is how we fix royal icing.